Hi guys, welcome back to the Barren Grounds by David A. Robertson. We are on chapter 18. So they are on their way following Eric's word that Eric says she knows where the man is who stole all the summer birds. We weren't sure if Eric was actually telling the truth or not. However, they go on this quest, cross over the ice bridge, and realize that they're being stalked by some other creature or being, and it ends up being a wolf. They meet this wolf. They're very scared. They all think that they're going to have to fight the wolf, which is a big concern because the wolf knows the man, knows where the summer birds are, states he knows these things. And so the wolf is very well fed. The wolf is very, very healthy and could have easily killed or really, really hurt all of the members on their quest. Eli, Morgan, Eric, Ocheck, all of them could have been hurt or killed by the wolf. But for some reason, the wolf let them go. So they're continuing on with their journey. So this makes me think there's three possible reasons. The wolf did allude to how the wolf doesn't like the human who stole the summer birds. And so the wolf is just waiting for its chance to take down that human, that man, and then be in control. So either the wolf is hoping that Ocheck and them help him do that so the wolf can be in control. Either it's that the wolf is just gone on further to where the summer grounds are and is going to just attack them. Or maybe there's the chance that the wolf really does want them to come so they can get the summer birds and return them to Mizwa. I don't know. I do not know why the wolf would have let them escape. It's a big question I have. So anyhow, they are on their journey. Chapter 18, page 166. As the sun set on the third day of their journey, and their fifth day on Ocheck, by Morgan's tally, they reached the summit. Although there was good reason to feel afraid that they made it, it was impossible not to appreciate the accomplishment. They came upon a flat area with a perfectly untouched layer of snow, where there rested another grove, and at the center of those pine trees stood one tree above all others, a giant sequoia. So if we remember our lovely map. I love when books have maps. They've crossed here, they've crossed over this ice bridge, they're going up these mountains, and now they're here on the summit, the top of these mountains, right here, this nice flat spot, and there's this giant sequoia, which is interesting how these giant trees seem to have some importance or significance in this story. We have the great tree here, which is where they came through. This is the portal tree. And now we have this other huge tree, a sequoia. Okay? I wonder about that. Okay? A giant sequoia. The tree looked as tall as a mountain itself, the peak of it thrusting into the sky as though you could climb its trunk all the way up to the heavens. It's a good place to eat dinner and rest, Ocheck said as they walked through the trees. They found that the pines had given the sequoia space enough to allow their hut to be erected near its base. I bet you can see the entire world from up here, Morgan said. And to test her theory, she kept walking until she came to the other side of the grove. Then farther, to the edge of the summit. She looked out over the land where they were headed to and was soon joined by Eli. They saw, only a few miles away, an end to the white thyme. It looked like a lake of greens and browns coming up against a beach of white sand. Morgan reached her hands toward it, as if she could gather it in the warmth right there. So did Eli. So they can see it now. They can actually see the end of the white thyme and where the summertime begins. Okay? You were right, Eric, he called out. Not long after, Eric and Ocheck emerged from the grove. Once Ocheck saw the green thyme, he buried his face in his paws and began to cry. Even Eric was quiet at first, looking over the land. I knew they were right, she whispered. Knew who were right? Morgan asked. Who would have told you about this and not have done something about it themselves? Oh, that's neither here nor there, Eric said quickly. Okay, this is something weird. So Eric did know about the Summerland and the human, but somebody told her. Who? We don't know. Why wouldn't they have done something about it? Again, we don't know the answer to that question. There are many, many reasons that people do not, or creatures or beings do not fight back against evil, even when they know it's there. There's many reasons. But now maybe this is the time to be able to fight back. Oh, that's neither here nor there, Eric said quickly. It is if it means we never had to. None of your concern, she interrupted. They had their reasons. The point is, we found it. Ocheck stared at the land below. It was such a beautiful thing to see him like that both Morgan and Eli started to watch only him. They looked away only when Ocheck appeared to gather himself. He said in the most level voice he could manage, Let's eat, then sleep. Tomorrow, we'll find the man. Okay, so Ocheck looks out over there and he sees Summer and he starts to cry. Now, often when we think of crying, we think of it as being something sad. And yes, I am sure Ocheck is feeling so many emotions right now. Frustration that his people, his beings have had to starve and go through what they've had to go through for so many years. Sadness that what is rightfully theirs, the cycles that would come and the way to live off the land, was taken from them. He probably has a sense of anticipation or hoping that he can get it back and bring it back to his beings, to his village, to Mizwa. Also, he's probably also feeling a sense of worry. He can see it. He can see the summertime. Now he has to be able to get it back to Mizwa. So he's feeling all these emotions. And so when we have so many emotions upon us, we need an emotional release. And that's what crying is. Crying allows all those emotions in your body to come out in a way that is not harmful to anyone. It releases those emotions from your body. And I believe this is what Ocheck is going through right now. He's having an emotional release because there's just so many emotions right now. So tomorrow they're going to go find the man. I can see his place right from here. Eric pointed directly west, where, against the horizon, the sun was falling out of view. There was a line across the land where the white turned to greens and browns, where the frozen lake broke off and its sky blue waters rushed into a forest so rich that you couldn't see the ground if you tried. Beyond the forest, there was a smaller river that fed into an enormous lake in the shape of a perfect circle. In the middle of the lake, on a small island, was a house. Even from where they were, at the top of the mountain, they could see lights shining out from within the cabin like miniature sunbeams. "There are your summer birds," Eric said. Ocheck assessed the space between here and there and said confidently, "By this time tomorrow, we'll have set them free." "Not so tasty now, am I?" she asked. "You were right, dear Eric," he said. "You were right." The four stood at the edge of the mountaintop until they had to pry themselves away from the view to finish setting up camp. A feeling of excitement came over them, as they thought this might be the last time they set up camp in the freezing cold. There was real hope now, as sure as the sun would rise in the morning, and not one of them mentioned why they'd been so scared earlier in the day. Not one of them spoke of the wolf at all. They can see it. They can see the village. They can see summer. And now they don't even want to talk about that wolf and about the things that make them scared or frightened. All they can see is hope. And so they don't even want to verbalize, bring any life or energy to that wolf. They ate supper quietly and quickly and packed up everything they could before turning in for the night so they would leave promptly in the morning. It was only when they were lying down, encircling the fire, that they talked, precisely when they planned to be sleeping. They were all too excited. "My father was still alive back then," Ocheck said, "before the man left with the summer birds." "How many people were in Mizwa?" Morgan asked. "There were children, parents, elders." "I'm sorry," Eli said. "My father was going to take me out on the land," Ocheck poked at the fire with no real purpose. "We went to bed early so that we could get up and leave before the others woke. My father told me that if I caught anything, we'd have a feast. I was excited. I knew I was going to catch something." Ocheck let go of his stick and watched as it erupted into a small flame and then collapsed into the fire. It was a perfect day, right in the middle of the green time. The white time had passed and wouldn't be back until 2 seasons had gone by. Ocheck lay on his back and looked up through the small opening at the top of the hut. You could see one star through the opening and the smoke escaping through it. Morgan and Eli and Eric stayed still and silent, waiting for him to continue. "When I woke up that morning, it didn't feel right. It was dark when the sun should have been rising. Nobody had set a fire because the weather had been warm, and it was so cold in the lodge. And the wind was violent outside, whistling in through the cracks in the wood. Ocheck's voice began to break, and he started again only when he'd righted it. "I opened the door, went outside, and it was the white time. The green, the earth, the waters washed away in a flood of snow and ice. Soon after, we learned that the man had gone with the summer birds, and Tataku, and the rest is history," Eric said. "No." Ocheck sat up, looking determined, his eyes burning with intensity. "It will be history after tomorrow. The elders will paint it on the walls, and we'll tell stories about it to our children and our children's children." All right, that's video 1. Video 2 will come up next. Bye, guys.